Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to Mama Rue's Ancestral Musings. This is a podcast about all things blackness and spirituality from an ancestral point of view. I am Mama Rue, and I own Mama Rue's Head in Hand, which can be found at www.mamarue.com. There you can see what I do, how I do, and how I can do for you. Today is Monday. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. I did, as always, with the New Era Chicago family. We were on the west side in the Austin area doing our Hood to Hood campaign. And let me just say this. I love the west side. I love west siders. I am a south side person, but there is something about folks from the west side. I don't know what it is. They have like a different energy or something. And I'm married to a west sider. Yes, my husband, born and raised on Chicago's west side. So maybe that has something to do with this. I don't know. But, the whole energy on the west side is just different, than it is from the south side. It's different, because I love the south side. But the west side is, they got a little something going on over there. And it's reflected in the people, okay? When I was engaging and interacting with the residents there, it was just a welcoming vibe. Even the naysayers are so welcoming. Like, the campaigns that we've done on the south side, you run into a couple of naysayers, sometimes none, but at the most one or two, throughout the whole 4 or 5 hours that we're out there knocking on doors. And even the ones that are skeptical on the west side, they're so kind about it. They're so welcoming about it. Whereas on the south side, they're a little bit more blunt, a little bit more, explicit about how they really feel about what you're doing. They have no shame and let you know how they truly feel about you. And it's all good, it's all great. For every one naysayer, there are 10 yaysayers. Okay? So, yeah. After we finished our campaign, we then did a cash money mob on a black-owned business, L&B Soul Kitchen in Bellwood, which is a suburb just outside of Chicago, headed westwardly. And it was a small place, but the food. Y'all, let me just say this. You know how you're eating food and you got a full plate, okay? And you're eating and you're full and you're at that point where you got to, scoot a little bit down in your seat and unbutton and unzip in the front because that's how full you are. But that food is so damn good, you just can't stop eating because it just tastes so damn good. And that was me. I could not stop eating even well after I was full. And I'm making a point not to do that because, I have digestion issues sometimes and stuffing myself, will put me in a world of pain. But it was worth it this time. I had the chicken and catfish combo with, I have rice and gravy, cabbage, green beans, and cornbread. And man, it was just out of this world. And it was kind of like a party, because like I said, the place is kind of small, so there wasn't enough room for all of us to sit. So most of what was going on happened outside, and it was like a party, okay? It was a celebration. It was, in fact, a celebration. We had a lot of kids that day. There was an empty lot next door, so the kids were in the lot playing tag or something. I don't know. They were having a ball. I wanted to play with them, but I was suffering itis, so all I could do was just sit there and watch them from afar. And then there was a brother out there with a drone. He had, I think the same type of drone that my daughter blessed my husband with on Father's Day, this past Father's Day. And it has this camera And so he took some video footage from his drone of us, out there doing our Cash Money Mob. And I saw the footage yesterday, and it was just like something from a movie. Okay? It was just amazing to see that. So, yeah, it was a great day on Saturday. Really, really great. Our next community meeting, we have open community meetings every Thursday. This next one will be on the west side. So if you're local, if you're in Chicago, okay, and you want to come on out and see what New Era is about, if you want to speak up on some things that are going on in your community, that you feel are not getting the proper attention from those who need to be given the proper attention, you need to come on out and let us know what's going on. Okay, give us feedback. Keep us aware of what's happening, things that are affecting your day to day. If you need the information, just contact me and I'll give you the details of the location and the time for the open community meeting this Thursday that New Era Chicago is having on the west side. Contact at mamaroo.com. You can also reach me on Twitter, Tumblr, where my blog is Mamaroo, and you can also find me on Facebook. Okay? All my information is on the Spreaker page for this show. On Sunday, my husband and I attended an open public ritual to call down the ancestors. Now, if you remember in previous episodes, I had an open private ritual to call down the ancestors to address police brutality. And that was a part of a worldwide event. And those are continuing every Tuesday at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. So if you are a spiritual warrior, okay, in any capacity, all right, if you're a prayer warrior, if you are a priest or priestess in an ATR, no matter what, okay, if you want to put your spiritual power towards crushing the evil that is police brutality in the United States, do participate in those rituals every Tuesday, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 10 o'clock p.m. So this was a public open ritual, okay, held at Homan Square, which has been renamed Freedom Square due to the political activity that has been going on there for the past 10 days. Now, if you are not familiar, Homan Square is a black site in Chicago. It's a facility, like a big warehouse type building, where civilians are taken against their will. They are not allowed to exercise their constitutional, civil, or human rights. Okay? They have been taken there and tortured. And in some cases, lives have been taken. Over 7,000 people have been taken to Homan Square over the years. And a large number of those, if not the majority, are black men. Okay, so it's absolutely, it's just beyond the pale that something like that would exist, not only on U.S. soil, all right, but here in Chicago. It's crazy. So activists have been camping out there and a lot across the street from the facility, from the site, and they have renamed it Freedom Square, and they have tents set up with all kinds of resources and items and goods for the members of that community. Okay, this is an all-black community there. And so, they have a little library set up where they giving away books and reading to the children as well. They have clothing, shoes for the families that need them. There's food there. There's health care there. Just all sorts of things are going on to address the needs of the members of that community, as well as protesting to bring about the closure of that black site. So a local Ile, okay, and Ile is a group of people who practice Orisha tradition. They are led by what's called a Babalawo, which is a priest of that tradition, put together a call to the ancestors ritual on that site for two reasons. One, to protect the folks that are out there in Freedom Square, okay, and also to call down the ancestors to deal with the problems that are happening. And so the first part of the event was a lecture from this Babalawo. He's a third generation Black American Babalawo. And he gave a lecture on the intersectionality of the struggle of freedom and liberation and African spirituality. And he didn't really touch on too many things that I wasn't already familiar with, but he did bring up something that I found it was extremely interesting and fascinating, and I want to go, when I get a chance, and read more about it. And that was about a group of enslaved Africans who had escaped over in Virginia, and they partnered up with some indigenous native people and had an uprising, okay? And they were basically maneuvering in the swamps. And he was saying that the Africans used the spirits of the ancestors and their spirit forces to help them survive, that terrain, because swampland and swamp forests are very difficult, okay, to do anything in. And they were successful. And it was because of the aid and assistance of their spirits, their ancestral spirits, which are called Ngungun or Egun, and their spirit forces assisted them and helped them survive, that typical environment. So it's a fascinating story. I am somewhat familiar with it, but I'm not well read on it. So I am definitely looking forward to learning more about that. After the lecture, they held the actual ritual, and it was a little different than what I'm used to. But then again, my experiences within Orisha tradition rituals are very few, and that was a long time ago for me personally. So it was a little different than what I remembered and what I was expecting. But then again, the rituals I had been in attendance to in the past were private, and this was open to the public. So therein lies probably the difference, So it started out with us doing a spiritual cleansing. So one of the sisters had some, what do they call it? The Omo. I'm familiar with the word omiero, but I think it's an Omo. Someone correct me if I'm saying this wrong. But it's basically a liquid that is a mixture of different things, herbs being part of it, and other sacred ingredients. And they are used to bring about cleansing, spiritual cleansing, as well as blessing. And what was really interesting is that there were two different concoctions. One was for people who were born twins, as a twin, and the other was for people who were, born as single birth children. And there's something, about the twins, or Ibeji, as they are known in Yoruba. And I am drawing a blank about it right now. It's been a long time since I've read about Ibeji and the mysticism and the stories and the spiritual aspects surrounding twin birth children. So if you are, interested in that, I urge you to go and look it up. Okay, Ibeji is spelled Ibeji. Sometimes people substitute the J for the Y. So look that up if you're interested. And so after we, cleansed ourselves with that, they then commenced the Babalawo. I think it was his son, his younger son. He looked like he could have been about, a teenager, young teenager. He led the opening prayer, and he did a fantastic job with the opening prayer. And then the Babalawo and two other drummers proceeded to do their drum and song. The first one was to